What's going on, guys? It's SirPilky. In this video, we are doing the Uncharged Shot challenge. The rules are as follows. I have to complete every Cuphead boss on expert mode, excluding the DLC and plain levels, using only the Uncharged Charge Shot. I can't use any charms, EXs, or supers, and just to make it harder on ourselves, we won't be allowed to take any damage as well. Now, I'm a big fan of the Charge Shot, but if you don't charge it up and instead just tap the shoot button, you will get what's called the Uncharged Charge Shot, which is far weaker than your average Charge Shot. Not to mention, this is a single shot weapon, so we're gonna have to be tapping the shoot button the whole time, which can get a bit tiring. Let's just say the damage output of this weapon is terrible, resulting in bosses taking 2 to 3 times as they would otherwise. If you want full proof that I did this challenge, you can find a playlist in the description of my Uncharged Shot challenge streams. And by the way, I was feeling a little sick, mostly towards the last half of this video, so if I sound a little under the weather, you know why. I want to give a quick shout out to Chicken Ninja 42, who did a challenge similar to the one I'm doing. There are obvious differences, but if you like this video, go check out his as well. I'd really appreciate a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and there's a link to my Discord server in the description if you want a fun place to talk Cuphead. Now, with all that being said, let's get into the challenge. Our first boss of the challenge was Goopy Legrand. While this is a very difficult challenge, I did not really mind the first few bosses all that much, but believe me, that was not the case further down the road. It wasn't too hard to hit Goopy in phases 1 and 2. For the most part, I just had to worry about dodging Goopy as he bounced around, and besides having to duck a few times every now and then, the first 2 phases were quite fast. It was a little more tricky to damage Goopy in phase 3 as he kept sliding around, and the only way I could hit him was by jumping up or aiming upwards whenever I was close to him. That being said, compared to future bosses, Goopy was quite a breeze, and we ended up beating him on our second try. Come on, bro, this guy's gotta be getting close. Yes, sir! What was that, second try? Not bad. And with that, we finished the first boss of the Uncharged Shot challenge, which meant we were now onto the Root Pack. To my surprise, the Root Pack was actually even a tad easier than Goopy. Phase 1 was probably the easiest of this boss fight. It was pretty straightforward to damage Sal, as even while he was shooting out his balls of dirt, we were able to get quite a few shots in. For Phase 2, the main thing I had to focus on was watching above me for tears falling down, but as long as I kept shooting the whole time, this phase was fairly simple. Phase 3 wasn't terrible either, but it definitely was the trickiest of this boss fight, mainly due to the homing carrot missiles that Chauncey sends at you. I kept having to stop shooting Chauncey so I could get rid of the carrot missiles, because I felt I wouldn't be able to dodge his I-beam attack if there were too many missiles on the screen at once. While this did make the final phase take a bit longer, overall this was the easiest boss of this challenge for me, and we actually ended up beating the Root Pack on our first attempt, which to say the least is not a common theme for the rest of this video. I know this guy's health has gotta be getting low. Wait, come on, come on, come on. First try, baby! Let's go! Okay. We were now onto Ribby and Croaks, where things took a bit of a step up from the previous 2 bosses. Throughout this whole fight, there was going to be much more happening on screen that I would have to worry about, and it quickly became very apparent to me that this was not going to be easy. Oh, this is going to be terrible. Shoot! No! This first phase was pretty troublesome, because if I didn't get rid of the fireflies fast enough, they'd run into me while I was dodging Ribby's fists. It didn't take me all that long to get past phase 1, but this really set into mind how difficult this challenge was going to be, as I knew there were going to be a lot of other bosses whose attacks were harder than Ribby and Croaks. After a bit of struggling, I was eventually able to send Ribby and Croaks into phase 2, which I was pretty hyped about. Please, stop fireflies! Yes! Phase 2! Oh my gosh. Phase 2 really wasn't bad in my opinion, and we ended up getting past it on our first try. Wherever I looked, I was able to damage Ribby and Croaks since they were situated on either side of me. This allowed me to deal a lot of damage quite quickly, and there really was only one attack I had to watch out for here, which made phase 2 a breeze. Phase 3 was actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be. We ended up having to go through 4 cycles of the slot machine, getting both the snake and tiger attack twice. It was a bit tricky to constantly get shots off while rapidly jumping on the snake attack, but I was able to deal a lot of damage here. As for the tiger attack, I had to focus a bit more on dodging, but this ended up not affecting me too much. I was really not wanting to have to do phase 1 over again, so I was pretty happy to finish this one. If y'all enjoy this challenge, please like and subscribe! Ah, yes sir! Ribby and Croak's out of the way already. Next up was the final boss of Inkwell Isle 1, Cagney Carnation. Man, I'm not gonna lie, Cagney was pretty difficult, mostly due to phase 1. There was just so much happening on screen between the falling seas and the floating plants. Not to mention, it takes 2 uncharged shots to get rid of these little buggers, so they were blocking a lot of my shots that could have otherwise been damaging Cagney. Surprisingly enough, we did quite well on our first try, nearly getting past phase 1. Holy crap! How am I alive right now? How am I alive right now? I really do not know. Oh, this is... Oh, dang it, I knew that was coming. After that, however, it would be a while before we would get close to phase 2. Let's just say I died a lot. Oh, that flying orange plant is the worst, dude. Alright. Dang it! I feel myself losing the concentration. Whatever that means, I don't even know what that means, but... Oh, come on! Oh, no! Dang it! I was so caught up in the dodge that I didn't dodge.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
But eventually, we would get past phase 1 where things became quite a bit easier. There was so much less happening on screen, and we were able to get a lot more shots in as well. Shortly after, we made it to phase 3, which like phase 2 wasn't all that bad. Fortunately, we beat the final phase on our first attempt, cause man, I did not want to have to do phase 1 again. Come on, we gotta be getting close, come on. My finger is legit getting so tired right now. Yes, sir! With Cagney out of the way, we were now onto Inkwell Isle 2, which only had 3 bosses in store for us. However, I knew these bosses were going to take a big step up from the previous 4. Guys. Beppy the Clown. I was indeed not looking forward to Beppy the Clown, particularly phases 2 and 4. Phase 1 wasn't too bad as it was pretty straightforward to damage Beppy, and we really only had to worry about jumping up into the ducks overhead. Because of this, we were able to get past phase 1 on our first attempt, but phase 2 was really where Beppy got tricky. These dog balloons required 2 uncharged shots to kill, and the roller coaster just made the whole ordeal about 5 times worse. This all caused this phase to be pretty time consuming as so much time was spent on dodging rather than shooting Beppy, but to my great surprise we actually got past it on our first attempt. Phase 3 wasn't all that bad. We really only had to watch out for Beppy's green horseshoe attack in combination with the roller coaster, but besides that this was a breeze compared to the previous phase. I was very surprised to make it to the final phase on my first attempt, but this was going to be the hardest phase of the boss fight. Despite that, I prepared myself, gave it my all, and... No! The pain was great. I got so close yet not quite there, and I knew it was going to be nearly impossible for me to get all the way back to the final phase again 2 times in a row. Or was it? Come on, please. Please. Yes! Baby! Oh my gosh! Dude, is that legit second try? I was truly surprised not only to get back to the final phase on my second attempt, but also beat Beppy the Clown. However, I had many difficult bosses ahead of me, and our next boss, Baroness von Bonbon, was gonna be no pushover. Oh, crap. Oh. Ooh, no, I did not like that. Oh, I didn't like that either. Oh. Getting past 3 of Bonbon's minions in a row was quite difficult to say the least, but that wasn't even the hardest part of this boss fight. Bonbon's final phase was the single hardest part of this challenge up until this point. It was incredibly difficult to dodge 2 of her heads floating around at once, not to mention this rolling peppermint as well. This caused this phase to last super long as there was a very small margin of time where I could actually damage Bonbon. Oh my gosh. No! Shoot, there was actually nowhere I could really go there. No! Shoot. No! That was just a small taste of how many times I died on the final phase. I was gonna have to survive here for nearly a minute and a half, and my dodges were gonna have to be spot on. But after many tries, I came to this attempt, and I just had to include the full length of the final phase to show y'all just how difficult this was. Ah! Oh, gosh dang it. I'm jump scaring myself so much. No! What? How did I not die there? Ah! Ah, come on, come on, come on. Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! Yes! I feel like I ran 7 miles. And indeed I did. I was super happy to be done with Baroness von Bonbon, but when one challenge ends, another one arises. We were on the final boss of Inkwell Isle 2, Grim Matchstick. Now I'll tell you all, phase 1 wasn't all that bad for me as there wasn't too much happening on screen, allowing us to get a lot more shots in on Grim. However, if y'all watch my streams, you'll know that I have a little tendency to jinx myself. And let's just say I did that a little too much while fighting Grim Matchstick. Alright, it's going alright so far though. Again, first phase this is the good stuff. This is the... Never mind, it's not. After so graciously jinxing myself, I was making it to the second phase more often, but this phase was honestly quite tricky. I found I could only damage Grim by crouching down and shooting horizontally on the lower clouds, or shooting downwards diagonally from the upper clouds. All the focus I had to put into aiming caused me to die quite a bit, however. Okay, I can sometimes aim down and hit him. Sometimes. Which is nice. Oh, dang it! Bro! Oh my! Despite the difficulty here, to my surprise, I actually made it to the final phase pretty early on in my attempts. Oh my... I probably should have gotten hit there. And probably there as well. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Yes! Holy! Okay, guys. Final phase. This could be it right here. Oh! 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 No! No! Shoot! I was pretty disappointed not to finish off Grim here, because I did not want to have to do the second phase again. And rightfully so, because I was stuck here for a good bit of time. No, bro! It's so difficult to tell. Oh my gosh. Phase 2 is just challenging. Because sometimes we could just let these fireballs just pass right underneath us. Other times we could just jump over them. And then sometimes that will happen. So, yes. The second phase really proved to be quite a barrier for me. But I knew once I beat Grim, I'd be on to the third and final isle of this challenge, so I kept pushing forward, and many tries later, I finally made it back to the final phase. Yes! Okay, last phase again. Here we go. How far will we get this time? No! Holy goodness! We are doing this here and now. We are. We're not screwing this up. Yeah! Yes! Woo-hoo-hoo, baby! Yes! We did it!
Oh!
And with Grim out of the way, we were onto aisle 3, but the worst was far from behind us, as this aisle had in store a total of 5 bosses, which was more than any previous aisle. To say the least, what lied ahead of us was not gonna be easy. Our first boss of aisle 3 was Rumor Honeybottoms, and I'm not gonna lie, going into this fight, I thought it was gonna give me a lot of trouble. And while it most definitely wasn't easy, it didn't take me as long as I thought it would to beat Rumor. Surprisingly, the hardest part of this boss for me was dodging the thorn bombs and worker bees in phase 1. I often found myself getting trapped in the corner only to take damage, and I found it pretty tricky to get a decent amount of shots off on the bee cop. However, shortly later I got the hang of this phase a little more, finding it best to shoot downwards diagonally or stand underneath the thorn bomb so I could get off a lot of shots horizontally. After devising this method, I began to make it to the second phase more often, which I didn't really mind too much, besides it taking a bit longer than normal. Of course, I couldn't get through this boss without a little jinxing, however.
I don't find her attacks all that annoying in phase 2. There's only 3 attacks that she cycles between, and then the last phase is... Gosh! Stop talking about how easy something is and then die!
But it didn't take us too long to start making it to the final phase, which ended up being easier than I imagined. I found avoiding the middle of the screen allowed me to get a decent amount of damage in while also being able to dodge the floating fists. And while this phase did last a fair while, I did end up completing Rumor on the second time I made it to the final phase, which I was pretty happy about.
Keep surviving, keep surviving. I know that she's getting closer. Yes! Baby! Oh, hey, we did it! We did it! That's Rumor out of the way, y'all. Woo! Yeah, Werner is definitely not gonna be as bad as Rumor. Ha! Stop it!
I was now into Werner Werman, and as you can see, I was off to a magnificent start. But in all seriousness, I didn't mind phase 1 too much, besides it taking a little while, which was expected. Phase 2, on the other hand, was quite a bit tricky. I had to constantly move around so I didn't get hit by the bottle cap saws, decreasing the amount of consistent shots I could get in. This caused the phase to take a significant amount of time longer than usual, and I found myself surviving a decent while, only to get hit somewhere down the line, not quite completing the phase.
Over. Ooh. Down. Dang it. I jumped up too much.
However, after quite a few attempts, I eventually made it to the final phase, and I was really hoping to beat Werner here, as I did not want to have to go back and do phase 2 again.
Alright. We're... Alright. I imagine he's gotta be getting fairly close. Yo! I was not lying! Baby! Nether boss finished.
I was super stoked to get past Werner's final phase on my first attempt, and I wasn't all too worried about our next boss, Captain Brinybeard, as I usually don't mind him much at all. And things were really looking good, as very early on in my attempts, I devised a method that would maximize my damage output.
No, I have to be right up next to him if I want to actually hit him and shoot up diagonally. That is why this is taking so long.
After discovering this technique, things were looking up. I started making it very far through phase 1, and to my surprise, only a couple minutes later, I made it all the way to the final phase.
This is it. I can take my time. Come on. I honestly, there's no way knowing how close I'm getting. Darn it, no! I messed up my... I tried to get in too many shots. Gosh, that's difficult. How close are we? No, we were actually really close.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was quite disappointed I didn't finish off Brinybeard here. We got very close, yet close was not enough. While disappointing, I figured I made it to the final phase quite quickly, so surely I'd be making it there again soon, right? Oh, but how wrong I was.
Darn it! Oh, come on, dude! Darn it, no! No, what? Come on, dude! I think I just haven't been concentrating on concentrating. If I concentrate more on concentrating, or not, or maybe not. Don't do this to me, not the ink! No! No!
For whatever reason, attempt after attempt, I just kept dying, the main problem being the sheer length of this first phase. So many times I get close to the final phase, only just to take damage again. I was really feeling beat here. It felt demoralizing dying over and over again to a boss I normally considered easy. I had made it so far into this challenge and I refused to let Brinybeard be the end of it. So, I did what I had done with the previous bosses when I ran into trouble spots. I pushed on.
Yes! Oh my gosh. It's been so long. We can do this. We can do this. We've been here once before. We can do this. I know we can.
Here I was at the end. Either I beat Brinybeard here and now, or I spend who knows how much time back at phase 1. Now my full attention was on dodging and damaging Brinybeard's ship as much as I could. All I could do now was focus and hope for the best.
Ooh, that was a little tricky. Dang it, I don't like this. Ooh. Yes! Oh my gosh, I am so glad we did that. Brinybeard was such a pain. Ha ha ha! Brinybeard! Oh! He quite literally increased my sickness.
To say I was relieved to be done with Brinybeard is an understatement. After having so much trouble on Brinybeard, Sally's stage play was like a breath of fresh air. She was of course not easy, but I think her fight took me less than 15 minutes to beat. Phase 1 was by far the easiest of the 4. Her attacks were quite simple to dodge, allowing us to do a lot of damage. In contrast, Phase 2 was the hardest of this fight because it had the most happening on screen, and I definitely lost quite a few runs to this phase.
Can I even do this? I do like that. No, shoots!
But after a short while, I did manage to make it past this phase.
Yes, sir, baby!
In phase 3, I really didn't mind at all. We were able to do a lot of damage in between her attacks, and I practiced this phase so much that we ended up getting past it on our first try, and we were on to the 4th and final phase, which, like phase 3, didn't give me much of a problem either.
Come on. Yes, sir! Sally's stage play! Oh my gosh! Woohoo!
We were now on the final 3 bosses of this challenge, and these 3 were gonna be some of the hardest ones yet. First up, we had the Phantom Express, and the hardest part of this boss fight by far was phase 1. It was super tricky to shoot all the bouncing eyeballs while also parrying the pink ingots from the flying pumpkins, and I died a whole lot here.
Oh my gosh, dude! Oh, okay. We're fine. No, we're not. We're not fine. We're not fine. Oh my gosh. Please get that parry. Thank you. Oh gosh. Dang it. This is the best we've done. No! Ah!
Eventually, we made it to phase 2, which I didn't really mind. I kept the cart on the far right, which easily allowed me to damage the conductor without having to worry too much about the flying pumpkins. Phase 3 was a bit trickier, but I didn't find this one too bad. That's not to say I didn't have my trouble spots, though.
Oh, shoot. Oh, I don't want to do phase 1 again, no!
I kept up this cycle of taking several attempts to get past phase 1 only to die to phase 3. However, after a bit of time, I found myself at the final phase.
Oh, darn it! No! No!
So yeah, I didn't get past the final phase on my first attempt, which I was a little bummed out about. I really did not enjoy all the times I had to go back and do phase 1 again. Some tries later though, I found myself coming out of phase 1 with this really good run.
No, I meant to... Holy baby! Ho, 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 ho! Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
After feeling so on point in phase 1, I knew this had to be the run, and I found myself back at the final phase for the second time.
Yes! Yes, sir! Oh my gosh, we did it! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! I can't believe it! Wow! Phantom Express! Yes! Inqua Isle 3 done, let's go!
And with the Phantom Express out of the way, we were now onto Inkwell Hell, which had in store for us the final 2 bosses of this challenge. We would first take on King Dice, who I was not looking forward to. He usually takes longer to complete than any other boss, and that's without the Uncharged Charge Shot, so I knew King Dice would take a while. First, I had to pick the 3 mini-bosses besides King Dice that I'd be facing for this challenge. After some considering, I decided to go with Mr. Wheezy, Pippin Dot, and Mangosteen. I figured without charms and only the Uncharged Charge Shot, these 3 were gonna give me the least amount of trouble. Now, as I specified, I was not looking forward to King Dice beforehand, but surprisingly, my very first attempt started off very well. We managed to get past Mr. Wheezy, nailing all the dodges when traversing between the platforms, heading into our second mini-boss, Pippin Dot. This one was definitely gonna be the hardest mini-boss of the 3, just because of how long it takes to complete. Just like Mr. Wheezy, however, despite the difficulty, we managed to beat Pippin Dot on our first attempt, which meant we were on the final mini-boss before King Dice, Mangosteen. Mangosteen was by far the easiest of the 3, and we really didn't have a problem with him at all. I mean, really, is there any challenge we should fail on due to Mangosteen? Anyway, to my surprise, we'd gotten through all 3 mini-bosses on our first attempt, meaning all we had left was King Dice. I normally didn't mind King Dice much at all, as I've practiced S-ranking him so many times, and I'm typically very consistent with parrying the cards he sends at you. That being said, I was going to have to go through 8 to 10 rotations of King Dice's card attack, so what came next was not going to be easy. I hadn't completed a boss on my first try for this challenge since the root pack, so I really wanted this one. All I could do now was refer back to all my practice and hope for the best.
Come on, dude. This is what we need to keep doing. We just need to keep nice and slow. No! 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 Oh, that is so painful. How far were we?
Man, that was painful. To literally get so close to beating King Dice only to fail at the last minute was quite devastating. Well, we wouldn't be completing King Dice on our first attempt, so all I wanted to do now was get done with him and onto the devil. A few attempts later, the situation was actually looking quite well, as we were just about to defeat Mangosteen and have another go at King Dice, hopefully beating him this time. But then, something happened.
I should never fail on Mangosteen with literally any challenge. Please. Please unsee that.
This was incredibly humiliating. I've never jinxed myself this bad, and the fact that it had to be on Mangosteen? Man, things were going downhill, but you'd think that since I nearly beat King Dice on my first attempt, it wouldn't take me that long to get done with him, right? Well, the events that transpired next were truly unfortunate. For the next hour, I die after nearly beating one of the mini-bosses, or more often the case, die in the final fight against King Dice over and over again.
Why? No! What am I Come on, dude! Alrighty.
I really don't know what it was. Usually I don't have much trouble with this final phase, but for whatever reason today I just kept dying here. This was the second to last boss of this challenge and the longest I had spent on a single boss thus far. I thought back to all the other bosses I had completed, all the progress I had made so far. I was here in Inkwell Hell, the home stretch of this challenge. I had made it through so much so far, and I knew this was possible, so I couldn't just give up. What came next was not going to be easy, but once again, I pushed forward to the final phase, seeing the lights at the end of the tunnel.
We are getting pretty close, I can feel it. Come on, dude. Come on. Come on. Yes! Woo! Ha! Yes! King Dice! Oh! I'm so happy. Oh my gosh, that was terrible.
After spending so much time on King Dice, you can bet I was more than happy to be done with it. With King Dice finished, this was it. The end of the Uncharged Shot challenge. All we had left was the devil, and boy, he was not gonna be easy.
Alrighty.
For real though, there were a lot of attacks to dodge in phase 1, and these purple minions that ran across the ground were very annoying. This called for our dodging to be spot on, and there were many close calls in this first phase. While phase 1 was pretty tricky, it didn't take us too long to start making it to phase 2. This phase was by far the easiest of the 4, and I think I only died here a few times. This is mainly because there wasn't all that much going on, allowing us many openings to do a lot of damage. The same, however, cannot be said about phase 3. This was one of the hardest phases of any boss for this challenge. I found myself struggling to get shots in because of how much was happening on screen. I'll tell you, the biggest problem here was these imps. It was very hard to actually aim and hit them with the Uncharged Charge Shot, so I'd often be left having 4 to 6 of them on screen at once. I figured out very quickly that this was going to be a problem.
Oh, no, I unducked too. Okay, how far did we get? Let's just check it. First try. First try, how did we get on our first try? Not halfway. Just shy of halfway.
Yeah, this phase was super tricky. It would take long enough to get past the first 2 phases, and then most of the time I just die very early on in phase 3. But hope was not lost. After failing many times, I was relieved to find I'd made it to the final phase. It was gonna be a pain to have to go back and do phase 3, and I knew this was gonna be the shortest phase of this boss fight. So, I gave it my best shot.
Come on. Yes. No!
Man, it was disappointing to die on the very first jump. This meant I had to go back to phase 3 again, and even though I had gotten past it once, it was gonna be no easy task to do it again. And oh boy, did I die a lot here.
No! Oh! Oh! Alright, this is the longest we've survived in a while. That was an incredible... Oh, come on! Oh, that would have been really hard to make. No, my gosh.
Well, we were quite literally at the end of it. This was the final boss of the challenge, and it just felt nearly impossible to get past phase 3 again with these imps waiting for me wherever I was. You know, with completion in sight, it can be so easy to give up on something. To just push it to the side and forget about it like it never happened. Well, today, I was not gonna let that happen. I didn't care how many times I died, I was going to finish what I started. One last time, I pushed forward, death after death, retry after retry, attempt after attempt. This was it, the final boss. Every death was only an obstacle, not a failure. I kept moving forward, and then it happened. For the second time, I had made it past phase 3. My heart was pounding. My level of focus was greater now than any previous boss. This, right here, right now, could be it.
Come on. Yes. Yeah! Yes, sir! We did the challenge! Oh! We did the challenge! We finished it! The whole thing! Oh my goodness! Oh!
Well, we had done it, the complete Uncharged Shot challenge. It was a long, hard journey, but a journey that I thoroughly enjoyed. And I hope you guys enjoyed the journey as well. If you did, I'd really appreciate a like and subscribe, and let me know your favorite part of the video in the comments. There's a link to my Discord server in the description. I'd love to chat with y'all there about anything Cuphead related or hear future challenge ideas for me to take on. If you guys want full proof that I did this challenge legitly, there's a playlist in the description to all my Uncharged Shot challenge streams. Thanks again to everyone who watched the video, and if you enjoy yourself a little rankings video, you can check out my rankings of every S rank in Cuphead, which should be somewhere on the screen right now. With all that being said, I hope y'all have a great rest of your day. Peace out, fellas.